XTOOL has one of, the most extensive offerings in terms of their family of scan tools for DIYers and professionals alike. What you see here before you is the D9S Pro. This is one of their more premium offerings for this market here in North America. They do offer other tools, but this here is sort of the top, very top tier tool that they offer here in this market. So let's talk about, I'll tell you some features in a second. Let me tell you what the name means. Okay, this is the D9S. The S means that the VCI talks to the unit via Wi-Fi. So that means it's not a Bluetooth VCI, so it's faster with Wi-Fi. The Pro means that they do have, in other words, they do have a D9S version, but they also have a D9S Pro. And the Pro, there's two differences that make this Pro, and that is that it offers guided functions for BMWs, which no other scan tool that they have offers that. And this right here offers online ECU programming, not coding, programming for BMW, I believe Volkswagen, Audi, Benz, and some other, maybe another brand or two, but I definitely know those are going to be the most important brands. But anyway, those are the two differences: the guided component, the guided function test for BMW, and online ECU programming for Benz, Mercedes, VW, Audi, etc., etc. So other things that this thing here offers is that this thing has 42 hot functions or special functions in the main special functions menu. And don't get that confused with manufacturer specific special functions when you go into each module when you get inside of the respective module like ECU, TCM, etc., etc. It does do ECU coding, as you would expect. It has guided functions for VAG vehicles. What else? It does CAN-FD, DOIP, and additionally, as standard, like with all XTOOL scan tools, this has a 3-year free updates. And just to be clear, when the 3-year free updates expire, if you choose not to do any further updates, all the functions that you have installed in this computer work just the same. It just doesn't work with the newer cars after that latest update. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into an unboxing here because this thing is pretty big, 9.68 inches. So let's go ahead and open this up because I'm excited about this because again, this here is I was pretty excited when they contacted me about this because for the longest time I wanted a D9 and well, here's my chance and I can show it to you guys. So you got a nice, very nice blow molded case, pretty solid. Has metal hinges on both sides. So let's go ahead and pop this bad boy open. Unbuckle this guy here. Just turn it around like this. Yeah, let's turn it around like this here. See what we got here on the camera. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. Adjust the camera just a little bit so we can see everything opening up here. So first of all, let's just open up this stuff here and then we get to the main unit. Nice little carrying case here that actually holds stuff in place because of these little doors here. I really like that actually. And so anyway, here you can see that there's I'm not going to go through them all, but all sorts of connectors that you may want, all sorts of adapters here in these bags, all sorts of like power adapters, bricks here, all sorts of power supplies, pretty much cigarette lighter adapter, other types of cables here. I'm not sure what they do, but again, if you need any specific cable, right here they have you covered in this side of the box here. All right, so let's go ahead and close that up. Hold that up there. Get that back down in. See if I can, let me set that off to the side there. Okay, over here you got your instruction manual, quick start guide, that sort of thing. Nothing special there. We got, they added a few extra connectors up here that didn't have spots here. This looks like, not sure what connectors they are, but just 2 extra connectors up here. Let's go ahead and open up the VCI. VCI is pretty nice. Let's see what we got here. Check that out. Check that out. Aluminum case. Okay. And here's our more wiring under here that you can connect things to the unit to. Here's another, excuse me, this right here look like it says for GM Daewoo the 012. So there is no shortage of cables here. You got pretty much everything you need. So here's the actual unit himself. And wow, that is nice. I don't know how that's gonna come through. Let me turn it upside down, but that is a nice, it's a nice big boy here. You got obviously a kickstand on the back, camera, you got power button here, connection ports here. Let's see what else we got here. Nice grip here. I like the form factor. It's just solid, never failed to impress. So let's go ahead and cut it on. Let's kind of get a little closer to the XTOOL here. And just let it just kick on real quick. Try to zoom in a bit. And so, yeah, just looking at the new splash screen here, what we want to see is just how everything goes. What I'll do is I'll go quickly through the registration process, just in case if you've never seen how easy it is to register an XTOOL, and should just pop right up. It says welcome, just like that. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and do this part of the video. I'll keep it on screen, but I'll just speed it up a little bit so you guys can see how it works. Just like that, you log in, you get your stuff, pretty much it. You just create an account, or unless you already have created an XTOOL account, you hit OK, and automatically it's prompting us to go ahead and update the software. So let's go ahead and update that now. And basically it looks like what's behind here is just a welcome screen telling us to go ahead and congratulating us and saying start now. So let's go ahead and just update the app, get that out of the way. I think that'd be the best thing to do. And once we do that, I just want to get in and just show you just how easy it is to get everything initialized, get everything started, excuse me, and begin to update your unit. I won't update the full unit here in this video, but what I will do is just show you how to do that. So just like that, should be opening right up here. And I'll also show you how to check to verify that you have your 3 years updates. So that way you'll know that that's the case. All right, look like we're getting in. So for me, this was in other words, I just wanted to illustrate just how easy it is to set this up, to log in, and that sort of thing. So basically, you can go to settings. I think it's under settings here. Let's go to about maybe, and I think sometimes they change it in put it in different locations. Let's go back out then. Let's go to more. I think it's here. Yeah. Profile. Yep. And you can see subscription right here. You click your subscription and I can see right here that my subscription, I activated it today, expires exactly 3 years from today. So I know the exact date, the very last date I need to update my unit to get the most out of it. All right, so let's go back home. And to update your unit, you can probably go ahead and use it now, if in all honesty, but you could just hit update. And what will happen is you'll see all this string of updates here. And we can just hit update all, and it'll begin updating just like that. So anyway, that is the unboxing video of the D9. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the car with these things. I have a, I've got to change I think either per solenoid valve or either vent canister valve out on my truck. So we're gonna do a purge and seal with this thing. We're also gonna look at other data and live graphs, so just stay tuned. That'll be in the second part of the video coming up next. All right, guys, so we're finally out here inside the car. Let me turn my AC down here. I had to turn it on. It's a little bit hot today in North Carolina, and the heat index is supposed to be 105 degrees. So there you have that. All right, so this is the XTOOL D9S Pro. Now again, I think I explained it earlier part of the video, but again, the S, it means that this is based on Wi-Fi and not Bluetooth, so that makes it a little bit faster, because again, when the unit gets data from the ECU, it reports it to the display faster. Pro, they do have a D9S, but the D9S Pro, what the difference again is that the biggest difference is that is inside of the ECU programming for certain models, and sort of in the guided functions in certain models. So anyway, let's move forward here with the menu. And the first thing up here in the corner where you see support, if you click support, it just gives you the email if you need to contact XTOOL. You see your VCI up here in the top, so if you need to, you can actually click that VCI logo up here, and it will take you here in case if you need to do any sort of VCI management. The other little world icon with a check just lets you know you're on the internet. So before we go into the diagnostics, we're gonna look at the other menus first, really quick. So special functions, as you can see, this unit has 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 42 hot special functions in this menu. Now, do not get that confused with the special functions that might be inside of the actual module that the manufacturer could have programmed in. And we're going to take a look at that just to show you that that's why they always quote as say 42 plus, meaning that it's 42 right here. But there may be more depending on the manufacturer of your car. So anyways, we can see they have a whole host of special functions right here that could be useful to the DIY and to the professional alike. All right, let's back out of here. Reports are just what it says. You can go back to, if you generated some reports, you can see I've already generated a couple of reports here. It's just on this list here. And you can also record data and do data playback just the same as you can screen record just the same. All right, so updates are just what it says. I have no updates here at the moment, I don't think. But if you have any updates right here, there'll be a little red icon on the updates little card right here that lets you know. You click it, well, you just update. If you go to more, you can go to your profile, endoscope, user management, that sort of thing. This does work with the endoscope. We will be using that endoscope with this in another video. I have a fix that I'm gonna use this video. Right now, this is just the introductory video to the D9S Pro, how it functions and what you can expect. All right, so remote control is just what it is. You can go to the team viewer function here. So let me back out of here. I just want to show you that real quick. And if somebody's remote, they can also tap into your scan tool and do some diagnosis for you remotely. Settings are just what they are. All sorts of settings as well. You also, if you go to About, you can check your app version, and if you actually click the app version, it'll check for updates. In this case, it's probably going to say no update is necessary. And let's see, give it a second here while it's loading, and all software up to date as expected. And XTOOL, basically, if you click this, it just goes to the XTOOL's website. That way, you can get a lot of support that you may need, or maybe some new information, or maybe if you just want to go check out other features of their product line, you can definitely come to the, and again, I'm outside in my garage, so my Wi-Fi is a bit slower out here than normal. But again, as you can see here, this is just XTOOL landing page. All right, let's go back to the software. So now, getting down to the nitty gritty. Now you can go through the diagnostic feature if you need to put stuff in manually, like you can pick Europe, Asia, America, China, Australia, whatever you need. Or you can, if you was on the main menu, you can just hit auto scan from right here. So we're gonna hit auto scan. And again, I'm in my 2010 Buick LaCrosse, and you know, this is my favorite car to do work on because it's sort of an older car, but not too old, but it also has a lot of modern features, so you can kind of get the best of both worlds when I take a look with this car when I'm, you know, giving an overview of a scan tool. All right. So anyway, we have actually got the car running because I want to show you some live data. So we're going to do automatic. We can do a system selection. Basically what this does, I'll show you what system does first. If you do a system selection, what it does, it'll let you pick whichever module you want to go directly into without having to go through the whole scan process. So if you just wanted to go straight into the ECM, you can go straight into the ECM without having to go through the whole scanning of all modules process. But for the sake of this video, we're going to go through automatic scan. Go ahead, hit automatic, excuse me. And as you'll see, it'll just sort of fly right through these modules. One thing I like about this is that the modules that are not present, it doesn't take them a long time to determine that and move on. Some scan tools take a while to determine that, and you get a sort of a it just takes a little while longer. That's all. I'm noticing on my car here, that's why I looked up here, I see where it says I need to service stability track. All that's saying is that it's some carbon buildup on my throttle body in my car. So I'm gonna do that probably later on today. I may even go ahead and make a video out of that because I don't think I've seen anybody make a video on, particularly with this car here, on cleaning the throttle body and how you should do that if you got a stability check light. So I'll go ahead and do that probably as a follow-up video here. All right, so we're getting close. Got a few codes, but most of the codes are just not really codes that affects the drivability of the car. So for example, we go into the electronic brake control module, we hit diagnose. It's usually a communication error. Basically, it's just an older car, so let's just read DTC. And control module, communication bus 8 off. And well, not exactly sure what that means, but again, usually codes like this don't affect the drivability of the car. It's up for you to determine with your car. We take a look in the BCM, high intensity discharge, and excuse me. And we'll go ahead and check out these codes. And I think that's just like, I think the batteries on some of my TPMS signals like maybe being a little bit weak. And I got LED lights all inside this car when they came with incandescent from the factory. So some of these are just saying short the battery, open circuit. It's just saying that it's just a different voltage in those LED bulbs than I think it's the 194 type bulbs than the incandescent bulbs. So not anything to worry about there. So now let's go into, we're going to use the ECU as the example here to show you what you know, you can expect from the scan tool. So we go to the ECM. This is 3.6. Front wheel drive. And once we get in, so now if you go to special functions, in this case, it's just some reset functions that you can do. Fuel trim reset, they didn't have that in the main special function menu. Remote vehicle start disable history reset. So there's a couple of other special functions that's built into the software that's not in that special function menu that's on the main screen. So each module may or may not have additional special functions, and each, depending on what car you have, may or may not. So always, when you want to check special functions, not only check the special functions menu to see if it potentially may work with your car, but also look into the special functions tab when you're inside of the actual module in your car. You may find some things that you didn't know existed. All right, so now actuation test here. We can I'm gonna do a purge and seal, and we'll check a few things out here. So we go here to the evap system, and we do a purge and seal, for example. Right now it says it's venting. The purge solenoid is on 4%. I'm assuming that's probably the duty cycle. And here's other information that you can have. You can also view data stream. You want to go to the data stream because really what you want to do in a case like doing the purge and seal, you want to see the voltage of the pressure sensor and the actual inches of water, which it'll pop up here in a second. So as we see, this car has right now just a slight vacuum on it. So now we hit, now this thing does have some tolerance, meaning that if you were to hit not venting, if it seals, you may still see a little bit of decay, but it'll probably be in the hundreds instead of the tenths. So based on my experience, what I've seen is that, for example, if I do a purge and seal in this car, you might see a slight decay, but on my truck that actually have a check engine like for a evap code, you will see that decay drop much faster, meaning that these cars have a little bit of tolerance, it appears. So right now we hit not, let's go up here, let me show you. Right here it says venting, 22% of solenoid valve command. We hit not venting. Venting is going to go to not venting, and the purge solenoid valve command is going to go to 0, and that's going to close the system. So we hit not venting, and well, let me do that again. I still got the little film on top here. Hit not venting. What will happen is that now it's not venting in 0%. Now if you go down here and look at the inches of water and the voltage, it's a slight decay, sorta, but not really. As you see, 0.85, 0.83. It's kind of holding that, and this is just a slight vacuum. A lot of people like to actually turn on the purge valve and suck a little bit out to make it a little bit higher. Like for example, that slight vacuum is holding. If this right here goes down to 0, that means that it can't even hold whatever vacuum that the purge solenoid had put into the system, and that's just all what that means. So again, sometimes people, let's just say, hit 10%, and what'll happen as soon as that cuts on, you'll see that number change in terms of the pressure sensor. So just hit not venting and you stop that, and what'll happen is that you can go up here, as you can see that it's not venting 0%. Go back down to where you look at the inches of water and the voltage. I mean, you do see a slight decay because that's sort of artificial, because it's never necessarily going to get that high in reality, but it's not just falling right off rather quickly when you have a large or small evap leak. So this is how you do a simple test to check, first of all, just to see do you even have a leak. And then you might want to move on to, say, using your smoke machine and maybe even checking components. Check and see, do you got actual power and ground to, say, your vent valve or to your purge solenoid valve, and actually like maybe even do other checks with the purge solenoid valve. For example, you could put a vacuum on there to see will it hold a vacuum when it's not getting any power, for example. All right, so that's it for that. Let's go ahead and hit exit here, and that'll just release whatever you just did, and back out of here. Let's go to misfire graphic. This is a pretty cool one here. The reason being is that it's already going to give you the misfires, and you can just go ahead and put them all on the screen. I'll show you what the graphing looks like. Hit custom and hit graph. If you combine them, combining graphs usually are not necessarily the most optimal thing to do, but if you do, you probably don't want to do it with too many data pits, because it might get a bit confusing. But as you can see, there's no misfire, so this is not really a good representation, but at the same time you can clearly see these graphs. So let's back out. We're going to go look at some oxygen sensor data, which is my favorite data to look at. So let's go back to fuel system. Let's see what's on the fuel system here. Depressurized fuel system, fuel trim enable. So again, you got a lot of stuff in here to do, as you can see just with that. I mean, fuel control loop status. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, fuel is closed. Yes, in a closed loop because the oxygen sensors are talking to each other now. So let's just back out and go to live data here. We're gonna go to O2 data. Here we go. You can put a maximum of 8 graphs on the screen at once. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna put oxygen sensor bank 1, 2, 1, and 2, and we're gonna do all of the fuel trims. Those are like some very important data PIDs, especially for drivability of a car. We're gonna hit custom, and that's just gonna pull out. When you hit custom, what that does, the ones you check, it just pulls those out from the bunch and just consolidates them into just one shorter list. And you could hit combine, but it'll be a lot going on the screen. But I recommend is hitting graph. I'll show you what combine looks like in a second. As you can see, there's 8 graphs on the screen, and they all are just, you know, you can see your oxygen sensor 1 in bank 1 oscillating, bank 2 oxygen sensors in a straight line, bank 2 sensor 1 is oscillating. Bank 2 sensor is a little concerning for me because that's just pegged out at say 8.8, and that's sort of pegged out as rich. But that's kind of weird because if we look at the fuel trim in bank 2, it's a little bit negative, but the short term is like around 0. So that's why I find that kind of odd. It just might need an oxygen sensor in it, but for now, I don't have any issues. There's no check engine light, so I probably won't bother. I'm not really seeing any difference in fuel economy, anything like that. So again, fuel trims, short term, we look at data PID number 5 and 6. They both are close to 0, which is great. If you look at fuel trim, long-term fuel trim, which is data PID 7 and 8, the fuel trim in bank 1 has always been around 14, and the fuel trim in bank 2 has always been around, you know, around 10-ish or maybe less. So again, 10 or less is considered normal, but my bank 1 always has been slightly higher, but not enough to really, you know, if it was like 20, I think 25% sets a check engine light, I believe, in most cars. So, but if it was around 20 consistently, I probably would dig more into the problem. But being that it's just really consistently, you know, 12, 13, 14, I'll just live with it. So anyway, that's the grafting features here. Let's hit combine. I'll show you what it looks like. Now, when you hit combine, as you can see, everything here is on the screen at once. I mean, it's not that confusing necessarily if you just follow the color, what you're trying to look for, say oxygen sensor bank 1 and oxygen sensor bank 2, which is the red and the magenta. So if you just look at the red and the magenta, you know, it's kind of hard to follow. But again, that's why I say if you're going to combine graphs, I recommend probably only doing like 2, maybe 3, so it won't be so confusing. But at the same time, you can, you know, hit the X button, you can change scales, hit the Y axis, you can change the Y axis, you can do sorts of things like that. And you can also, and this is where you record the data. So if you record the data from here, so for example, let's just do a quick recording here. We record for about 5 seconds here, even though this is not optimal, but it's just for the illustration. We just hit record and stop that. And now we should be able to go back to the data and see this data in playback history. All right, so again, if you look at all of this live data that you have, this is wow. For example, let's go back into the TCM, for example. I want to show you what a special function menu look like there. So again, that you will understand that this scan tool has a great capability when it comes in terms of being bidirectional. So special function under the TCM, let's see what it says. Transmission adaptive pressure reset. That's a special function. That special function is not in the main menu of this scan tool. So GM has programmed transmission adaptive pressure reset. So maybe if you're going and change some solenoids around, do some work to the transmission, you would have to probably follow. It's like I've seen this done on the video. Sometimes you just reset it, and I've seen sometimes you got to drive it at a certain speed. I guess it depends on how much relearning you have to do. I don't know if this is the exact menu, but you get the point that the whole point is that this is a special function that's not in the special function menu. Actuation test here, high side driver, low line pressure, gear shift, solenoid valves, all sorts of actuation tests that you can do to determine if something may or may not be working, if it's mechanical, if it's electrical, so on and so forth. So, all right, I think, let me see, is there anything, and let me go back into the ECM one more time. And what I want to do is just look at, just make sure there's nothing in the menu I think is really relevant for you guys to see with this unit before we back out, because the last thing we're going to do is just look at that data playback. Because again, you can always record the screen. Just like I am recording the screen now and you see the overlay that's on the screen, that's the screen recording. But data playback is actually recording data specified, however, whatever, I guess, programming and file usage that they use with this program, and records that data specifically so you can go back and look at it. All right, so there seems to be, they got, admission, if you want to see inspection, maintenance data. This is basically to let you know if you can pass inspection or not. And it kind of gives you an idea of what is going on here. And let's go to system status. And again, you can always check to see, you know, if you want to check that out to see, can you pass inspection? This is where you would go here. Freeze frame data, I don't have a check engine light, so freeze frame data is just basically going to show you when you got a check engine light come on, exactly, it's going to be a suite of data PIDs that's going to put information into this freeze frame. So basically, when that check engine light come on, exactly what was happening, say like your RPMs, your barometric pressure, your mass airflow sensor, all of these information is going to record that data at that moment that check engine light came up, so it might give you some insight and help you diagnose what that could have been. So, all right, I think that's pretty much it. I think I've showed you really the power of the scan tool, and obviously topology. Again, I haven't talked about that just yet, but basically topology helps you kind of pinpoint what route to look for. For example, in the body control module, you know, you would know that if you're having a problem in the BCM and you look and see some check engine lights, I mean some modules that have other things, you can kind of see, for example, with the PPM module, you can see that they're on the same network line, and you can attack that versus like maybe looking at other modules that may be on another, like the chassis or the power or where it says others, for example. So it helps you kind of, gives you a direction to see which way you might need to take if you have issues, particularly with check engine lights. Let's look at what a report looks like real quick. Here's a report here. It just gives you everything you need to see right here. If everything is good, it just has a check mark and just straightforward. I mean, I don't think it's nothing that a common, you know, that a person who wasn't in the cars couldn't read and understand. Hit save, we'll just save it and hit exit. And let's go back out of here. We're gonna exit the automatic scan. Let's go back, and now let's go into, I think it's under report, data playback here. As you can see, that's the recording with the .cds file. So we click that, and we'll see that it recorded this data, and it didn't record it in a graph. It just seemingly, wait a minute, maybe it did record it in a graph. Let's see. Oh yeah. If you hit the, we haven't hit play at the bottom yet, but if you expand each one of these graphs here, let's see here. You can hit custom like this. Okay, let's go like this. Hit custom. Oh, I see what happened. You hit custom, and now you can hit display all. Wait a minute, let's do combine. Let's do combine. Yeah, let's hit play now. And as you can see, it's playing what I recorded earlier. So we hit X, and it's doing it by frame. You see at the bottom, it's sort of like snapshots. It's like 112 snapshots, and they're just playing those snapshots in succession. All right, so we hit exit. Let's look at, we look at it on this list. It's still playing in the list format. As you can see, all the data right here. So if you don't want to record a screen, you can just record, say, certain data, and then you can just look at it through the XTOOL this way. because it's just easier to find. Because for example, if you record a screen, you're gonna have to go through the file, find the file, but here it's saved conveniently into the data playback area of the unit. Data view, no relevant data. So there you have it. So anyway, this here has been the XTOOL D9S Pro. This is a Wi-Fi communication unit, wireless, as you can see, wireless, and it is a powerhouse. I mean, absolute, this thing is an absolute unit. It can do it for a professional. It can do it for an advanced DIYer. It can do it for, say, a car enthusiast. If you are doing, oh, also the key programming for this thing is probably the best out there. This also works with their other key programming things. They got key programming peripherals that you can attach to this unit. We'll say, for example, you can program, say, Mercedes-Benz keys, for example. So if you're a locksmith, this unit right here could also work for you just the same. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This here now is going to be my go-to scan tool, and this has been the XTOOL D9S Pro. Link in the pinned comment. Take a look at it. And right now, one last thing before I go, they do almost always have this unit with a $200 or $300 coupon off on Amazon. So do take a look at that and get that discount if you decide to pick it up.